What if there was a tool that could create hundreds or thousands of videos of you with just one recording session? That's exactly what Mark and his team created at Salemaker, a massive time saving tool that creates personalized AI videos at scale to help you get more leads, meetings, and ultimately sales. So good that it may even put me out of business. Just kidding. I hope. Well, I got to chat with Mark, the CMO and co-founder of Salemaker, where he shares his insights on how to get in front of the right audience, acquiring new users, and the future of what AI personalized videos looks like. So if you're into that sort of thing, this episode's for you. Hey, Mark, thanks for taking the time to chat with me today and come on the Hey Nice SaaS podcast. Excited to chat with you and hear more about what all you guys have going on. So to start, why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you guys are working on?
Yeah, hey Evan, thanks for having me on. Great to be on. My name is Mark Lewin. I'm a co-founder, chief marketing officer, as a title of Salemaker. Salemaker is a platform that we allow you to generate as many personalized videos as you need. You give us one video, and we can give you back as many as you need for as many prospects or leads as you need. And we're also seeing some other use case. It's all AI generated.
That's awesome. I've seen that growing in popularity as of late. It's a huge like time saving, pull one lever to yield a great return on the back end type of
Exactly.
action.
If you ever seen Loom style sales videos, that's what this is basically. We just allow you to create as many as you need, like you said, in a quick time frame.
That's awesome. How does it compare to something like an 11 Labs or something like that?
So yeah, we actually use 11 Labs for the voice cloning. So
Yeah,
like we don't have all proprietary stuff to be honest, but you don't need to have a successful product, right? To that does outreach or does certain use cases. But we use 11 Labs for the voice cloning, and 11 Labs is awesome. So.
yeah, it's the great tech. I love that because and I wasn't sure, but it's kind of like you can kind of find that niche, right? That use case that's particular to solving a problem, as opposed to being everything for everyone.
Right.
Yeah, and as a marketing person, I'm sure you can attest to like if you know that problem well, you know that specific use case well, then you know exactly who you're speaking to and how the messaging can be tailored for that.
Yeah, exactly. You keep it extremely personal. Every single video you could have, depending on the data that you get from your prospects or your leads, you can incorporate that into the videos. We allow for tons of personalization, almost unlimited amount of variables, and in the script that you send to each prospect. So exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense in terms of a use case and how beneficial it would be. Again, especially on that like people are already limited by time and many people have a million things on their plate already. So if this can be like, one action input and then yield multiple on the output, I think it's a win-win for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you, like I said, if you find good leads that are, very similar, but still keep it very specific, you could write a script up and have the specific variable specific to each lead. And then, like you said, you scale that to 100, 400, 500 leads. And now you have a personal video scaled to those specific, ICP, whatever.
Exactly. So you're saying I can send everyone a personalized birthday video in my family and they'll think it's made just for them, right?
Exactly. I've seen HR, companies or what's the Create Engine, I think is the one where
Nice.
they do this with like text and whatever, where it kind of auto generates. I think I pitched them to say, hey, we could give you a video. Send happy birthday to your employees if you want with a video, right? And
That's awesome.
you only have to record one.
Exactly. No, it's fresh in my mind, that use case because I actually just celebrated mine yesterday and I got a letter in the mail from, our car insurance company. I'm like, oh, that's very thoughtful, but
That's
it's
nice.
right. They just signed, they've got them printed up, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be a great use case.
Well, happy birthday. And
Thank
also,
you.
the car insurance should have a QR code. You scan that. It could be a video of your person that you work with saying your name and everything like that. So you give me their info, I'll pitch to them.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll share it as soon as we wrap. I think it'd be a great
Uh,
idea for them. Tell me, so obviously, like the use case makes perfect sense, especially in the world we live in today, kind of just combining efficiencies and automations and things with typical regular sales duties and marketing objectives. How did this get started? Where did the idea come from and how did you guys begin?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, not our idea. Now, we're not original. We have a couple competitors, couple VC-backed competitors. We're bootstrap, me and my two founders. Um, but our competitors, one of them have been around since like 2019, and it was a lot of splicing. You could see cuts, you could see things like the tech just wasn't there the way it is now. But the journey has been a little bit of a longer journey. I've been looking. I was a nurse for a while. I went back to school for tech, web-based software development. I got into IT healthcare, which I still do now, and I do SailMaker, part-time, as much time as I possibly can with my two founders. My two founders are based in New Zealand. They're really good friends. They posted an article about indie hacking. I cold outreach to them, and we had a lot of back and forth. And then from that, we've been working together for the past, 7 months on SailMaker, and the app's been live for about 2 months, 2.5 months. We just released version 2 with all the functionality that we have now.
That's awesome. I'm a sucker for a good like a good lean startup story, right? Like you just get the product out to market,
Yep.
it's bootstrapped, it's the MVP, and then you iterate on it and you make it better over time. I
If you
love that
if you're
approach.
not a little, queasy about releasing the first version of your product, you probably released too late,
Exactly.
right? So.
Yeah. No, that's wise words. Tell me, okay, as you guys kind of refine, the tech side of things, and obviously you're on the marketing side of things, what does it look like for you guys acquiring users and kind of getting it in front of the right people? What's that process like?
Sure. Yeah, we got a couple different ICPs and we see a couple different pulls and use cases that we're looking at. Clearly, lead generation, digital marketing, this just fits for cold outreach. You want to make your cold outreach really personal with a Loom style video. This is the way to do it. People have been doing it for a while with Loom videos. Now this just allows you to scale. We've also seen some pull in newsletters. So you want to get really personal with the folks that are subscribed to your newsletter. You could send out a ton of videos that way. And then meetings, when you have a meeting booked, um, and to increase show up rates, send a video. If someone gets a video and they're like, wow, this person recorded a personal video for me before this meeting, and it entails what we're going to talk about in the meeting, they love that. That like really, it's like triple show up rates. It's kind of crazy actually to see.
No, that makes perfect sense. It's funny you mentioned those different, different levels of approach, and it's there's I don't want to say a level of obligation. Maybe it feels like endearment, but like the cold outreaches that I've had, because we get them all the time, right? And I think especially the world that we're in, you can see through the intention sometimes, and the ones that were just kind of done with a click of a button at scale with minimal thought. Those are the ones that I can't unsubscribe or
Yeah.
delete the email fast enough. But
Yeah.
the ones that have done the Loom video and they've like they've analyzed my website or this or that. Like I always feel some level of, like I said, not obligation, but at least like, man, I want to respond to them, whether I
Yeah.
need the service they offer or not, because it does offer that humanized, like personalized touch that I don't think can be really that can't be replicated.
I agree, and it also shows that they put work in, right? Even if some of it was automated with a product like ours or whatever, or like you described, a web scraper to go to your website, scrape that information. It still shows that they put the effort out there to make it a genuine connection, learn something about your business, that type of thing, where it's not just some cold script that they wrote and then send to you because you happen to fall into some category of ICP, right? So.
Exactly. I'm on some lead list they bought,
Right,
and it's just,
right. They
yeah, I
got
get the
your
email.
Apollo, they got your Apollo
Yes.
email, that type of thing, right?
Exactly. No, it's good. And this is a world. I think I may have mentioned this to you offline, but like, I am brand new to this whole world, right? This is I'm a kid in a candy shop. Like this SaaS world is probably like 10 months for me that I've been even remotely familiar with these things. So that said, I'm always fascinated by the many different like problem solution scenarios. Tech is advancing rapidly. There's always a great way to use it as a tool to remedy some problem or provide a solution. And I say that because I think now I've grown partial to like this human plus AI approach because it's not just like we mentioned, the example we just talked about, the one that kind of feels like a phoning it in approach. I like maintaining the human element, and then we just use AI or we use technology to scale that effort.
Sure,
Um, and again, this is not gospel, right? This is just but one opinion.
sure.
Um, but talk a bit about that, like in terms of maybe workflow, right? Or kind of how this works for you guys. Like you're taking the humanized, personalized level, and then you've got automations or you've got tech on the
Yeah,
back end that helps it to
yeah.
scale.
Yeah, I think that's what the video really does, right? It keeps the human involved. You're seeing a human. It's actually me talking you have to put the work in to record the video. Sure, we generate you a video from AI, but the video is you. Some of our competitors generate you an avatar. We generate you. We just change your lips and make it say what you're saying. So there's definitely that human side that you want to keep in the pitch, in the whatever you want to call it. Like you said, it's not just some automated tech thing. But then it's a nice marriage of using as much tech as possible to automate that, to scale it, especially when a company dials in their ICP, or they know who to target and they really can target specifically to keep this human side on the video while they're dialing in and targeting. So it's a dance between the two, right? Like, what tech can we shove in while still keeping it as a human in, sending you the video.
Yeah, no, I love that.
I
It's
mean, but yes, sorry, but like integrations. If you want to talk integrations, we could integrate with anybody. You got
yeah,
Clay, you got Apollo, you got Instantly, Smart Lead. We have a Zapier webhook or an API. All
yeah,
of those things can make a call to our app, get the video, send it back, and now you have it getting sent out to how many leads you have. So we definitely could marry,
yeah.
can work with any of the sequencers or anything like that.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? It's like again, the use cases are almost like I don't want to say unlimited, but the nuanced use cases might
Sure.
be unlimited because yeah, if you guys have integration capabilities and like someone's process may be, a certain number of contact points or at a certain stage in that buyer's journey or customer's journey, like it makes the best sense. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yep.
love that. It's like using the right tool for the right job, right?
Exactly. Trigger events on Zapier or something
Yes,
like that. Perfect. You hit my landing page, then you did this, you clicked that, you submitted this form. Okay, I could send you a personal video, that type of thing. Definitely.
exactly. Yeah, I'm partial to that. Like I said, on kind of like being the recipient, but then also, I'm passionate about video. That's my livelihood. That's my bread and butter. But I love that tech is allowing it to be done, maintaining quality, but then done at scale.
Yep.
So the
Yep.
thing that I'm kind of tooling with right now, my own little SaaS project has been, it's undergone some, uh, you know, some changes, different iterations as some of them do. But I'm finding that like where I am now is very much in that space of like human plus AI because it's, AI might get it 80% of the way there, the first draft may be fine, but it needs that humanized, like, let's give it our own spice and our own touch to make it feel genuine and not feel like it's just the average of the internet. So that's
Yeah,
kind of,
definitely could see that on writing tools, or when you ask the AI, you ask AIs or certain models or whatever to get creative. They're not creative, right? That's the big difference between us and the AI and the models right now. They can't be that creative. That, like you just said, they pull from a large pool of data that they were trained on, and they spit back out not an average or whatever, a geared towards certain way, like you just said. But right now, definitely, they're human at the end for quality control, right? QA control needs to get involved probably at some point. Not in our thing, but for video editing, I could see,
sure.
or you see some of the text writers like Jasper or Hemingway, some of those. Yeah, the human editor has to still look at it. It's like a junior, writer writing now, and
Yeah.
the editor has to come in and say, all right, well, this looks great, but cut
Yeah.
this, cut that. Same kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's interesting too, because like I mentioned, very varied use cases and problem solutions. Because mine, it's in the, I've referred to it as like your marketing team because it's like the different roles that would be within a marketing team. So everything from creative director to CMO to even like social media strategist, and it's more that that partner, that collaborator, that ideation
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah.
Conceptually, I think it's spot on, right? Like again, it scours everything, and it's like, hey, strategically, A, B, C, these are the things to do. But then putting the brand on it, it's like it's a little lackluster, like you said. So yeah, and it kind of mirrors. I think it's kind of like the equal opposite. Like you guys, the input is from the human, and then we just take that and distribute it, make the
Yeah.
tweaks, make the
Yeah.
adjustments. So yeah, it's. There's no shortage of like amazing ideas and things that are being done. I think so. It's
I
pretty
agree.
awesome.
I just think like you said, there's a spectrum of creativity that the AI is good at right now. I think at some point it will be as creative as some of our best creators, but
Yeah,
it still requires the human input and whatever you want. So I
absolutely.
completely agree.
Yeah, we remain employed for another day, huh?
Yeah,
Human in
that's
the
right.
loop.
That's right. That's right.
So tell me a bit. We talked about obviously you have a pretty good insight to what you guys are creating. Y'all are iterating, doing well, right? Hitting a stride. It's got a pretty good fit, product market fit. Like things are going well, but I'm assuming, as with most things, there are challenges. So,
Sure.
talk to me if you would about some of those times that maybe something seemed insurmountable or something seems to bit difficult to overcome.
Yeah, I think converting users to paid always always a fun challenge for SaaS founders. That has to do with UI friction, removing friction, so they could press the buy button and subscribe or buy, per use, whatever your monetary stuff looks like. That's always a challenge. We just switched to our version 2, which allows for a much better user experience, much easier, smoother user experience. We're seeing people finish more workflows, things like that. Those are always big challenges. And overcoming them is honestly, it's how I approach anything anymore, is just iteration, like you said. Like, try this thing out. If it's data backed, great. Like, we could use some data and then we implement it and then we iterate, great. If not, just try it out. Like, you should just be trying a bunch of different stuff. If you have a plan and you try something and it doesn't work, you could iterate. But if you just don't try anything and you just keep planning, it's never going to work out, right? Because you didn't try anything. So,
I love that. I'm a big ready, fire, aim guy,
yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. And I used to say, I'm a visual guy, so analogies, right? And it's like you can't course correct a ship that's not moving. So it's like you have to be going to be able to
Exactly.
kind of make that change.
And you get momentum off that when you
Yeah.
have something going anyway. So it's like, oh, I did this, and even if you see a tiny, modicum of success, you're like, oh wow, maybe that did work, and whatever. It just gives you, motivation to keep going.
No, that's exactly right. I love that.
Because
So
you hit a lot of walls. I mean, the roller coaster of the entrepreneur game is this,
yeah,
emotional roller coaster is real. So
indeed, yeah, and those challenges are inevitable, right? It's like how do we navigate them when we meet them?
definitely.
Um, are y'all so is it a free trial or are you guys a freemium to paid? How does
Yeah, we give you a free version for 14 days. You get all access. You get 20 free videos. You could sign up, and then hopefully you convert because you see from your 20 videos that, wow, this is awesome. And if I sent this to 200 people, I'm going to get conversions, which we've seen and a lot of our competitors have seen. So yeah,
yeah, so they can kind of see like they start to justify there's justification of the investment at that point. It's like,
Exactly. Every time I send this to somebody, they're like, like, what are you gonna do with? Like, it's like you have me now, like, right? Like, what are you gonna do with this? Please don't do this nefarious, action with this, please.
yeah, that's like, we understand the power of our technology and we hope that it's used for good, right?
Definitely, definitely.
So whenever people are using it, right, when there's follow through, when there's a good fit, whenever you've got maybe the power users, the ones that are actually like taking this and using it to what you guys had imagined when creating it, what's that look like? What's that process look like?
Yeah, a couple different versions. The cold outreach is great. We've seen, ton of success with folks saying, "Hey, I have a 2-minute strategy for you, how I could do XYZ for your business in whatever industry, whatever." The prospect says, "Yeah, send it to me," or "Can I send you a video?" And they say, "Yeah, send it to me," and then they send over that video. We have automations going that do that whole process, right? So you get a positive reply, generates the video, sends the email. That's always a successful use case because then, like you said, it's humanized, personal message from someone that's specific to the person that they reached out to. We've also seen content repurposement a little bit. So an attorney that we work with, he does marketing stuff for attorneys, basically, filmed one great video of him in a suit, great lighting, great audio, and he just repurposes content, types out a script, and then just pumps out videos almost every day, and posts them on LinkedIn and posts them on other platforms. And then that LinkedIn Shorts is coming out and it's out for certain countries. Big opportunity there.
I'm gonna cut out the repurpose section because that's gonna put me out of a job. No, I'm kidding. That's incredible. No,
I
I
was like,
love
I
that.
paused. I paused while you were saying that because I was like, okay, I guess I'll let him edit this then.
No, that's great. It's funny because I guess it was last week it went live, but I had just started to offer like a productized version of my service, right? Because like, full scale, like, creative agency, not everybody needs that. And then there's
Sure.
a number of people that I can help with, kind of giving the tools is, I made a post about it earlier, but it's like, in my own foolishness, I kind of assumed there were two options. There's the DIY where I create content, you learn from what I've learned and you do it yourself, and I never know anything about it, and good luck to you.
Yeah.
Or there's the other option, right, where it's like we've got, premium packages, retainer model. We come in, you just show up as the expert and the face, and we do everything pre-production, post-production, and everything in between. And it's like, oh well, there's a world of opportunity right in the middle,
Mm.
where it's teach a man to fish, right? Like give them the tools they need. They're capturing that footage, and then we edit it, we polish it up, we give the distribution plan, and I share that because it's like we know video. Like by this point, everyone knows video is a valuable asset, a
Hmm.
valuable marketing
Hmm.
asset. So it's like there's a number of different ways depending on the use case and the type of video and the platform and everything else. It's like, well, how do we generate that video? How do we distribute that video? And I think that, you guys are obviously onto a incredibly valuable like use case, number of use cases
Yeah.
that make perfect sense. Yeah, I think it's a complementary thing to what a lot of people are doing.
I mean, you said something great there too, where you get them in the door, and then if you could upsell them as well, right? Like, get them to teach them something, like you said, teach them the basics, and then hey, we do provide this whole service for you, so there's that. And in the beginning, and like that's what we're trying to do as well. We do somewhat, I hate to call it this, but like a managed services approach. You want us to set up the emails and send them for you. You want us to send the automated LinkedIn messages, all that type of stuff. We could run that for you too, obviously, because we know we've been doing it for our own company. So
Yeah, and there's some people that just rather not mess with it in the first place. Like they'd rather pay,
exactly,
yeah, yeah,
exactly.
and focus on the thing that they're best at.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
Specialization.
Yes, indeed. So, okay, I like this space that you're in. I like the use case. Obviously, I'm partial to marketing and to video. So, as you kind of navigate and you're observing where you're going to go moving forward, what are some of the things that excite you? What are some of the things, if you can share some of the things that y'all might
Yeah.
be iterating and working
No,
toward?
we'll share them. I'd love to see someone else create them too, so we could iterate with them. But no, the automation pull is a big pull. When I say automation, I don't mean automating workflows. That's a big pull too. But the automation of outreach and keeping it personal, right? So you could have these crazy web agents going on in the background and keeping it extremely specific to the person you're reaching out to. So if I were, a lead gen agency, let's just say, and I was targeting, SaaS companies, I could write specific scripts in an email sequencer like SmartLead. This is how I would write email one. This is how I write email two. These are the leads I would do. That's going on in the background while they're talking to the specific lead. We built that out, proof of concept for SmartLead. Not in our app yet. It's going to be live. Another automation web agent type thing that we've seen is LinkedIn profile audits. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but someone visits someone's profile on LinkedIn and they say, "Hey, your picture looks great, but you should do this. Your bio says this, but in your role is this. Why are these two things different?" We've automated that process as well. I posted the like proof of concept video on my LinkedIn a little while ago. But those are two like web agent automation type pulls that we're seeing um, with videos that you could use in your outreach, and like as a lead magnet. You post that on LinkedIn, someone's like, wow, they took the time to do this. Sure, and it was automated. Or bless you. We see as an idea, someone posting a post on LinkedIn. Hey, comment on this post. I'll DM you a personal LinkedIn audit, right? That whole thing automated, basically using our tool. So and something
I
like
love it.
Phantom Buster or something like that.
No, it makes perfect sense because I think at that point too, you're kind of giving them like you're packaging the use case for them. You're not just giving them the tool. It's like, you know, you buy the tool and then it's the pre-measured, pre-drilled holes,
Yeah,
fabricated toolkit, and they just put it together.
plug it in.
And yeah,
Give
I
us your
love that.
leads, give us a CSV file or give us a link URL, and we'll get you as many videos as you need.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to remember. I heard in interviews the other day, someone was talking about their copywriting, and like this one small change really just massively increased the response of their copy, and it was just giving examples of how it's used. You know,
Mm.
he was just
Yeah,
saying like, "This is great
because
for blank."
exactly. Because think about all the friction you have to overcome
Yeah.
when you're pitching somebody, right? It's like, do I trust you, the person? Do I trust that this thing is going to work, right? And then like, is it going to work for me? Like, there's so many different things you have to overcome. Like you said, that couple wording tweaks, and it's like, okay, that resonated with this group of people for whatever reason, right?
Yep. And exactly what y'all are doing kind of in video fashion at that point. It's like, hey, not only is this for you, I've done it for you. Here it is. And it's
Right,
available. I
right,
love it.
right.
So outside of what you're doing, obviously you guys are well versed in the SaaS and tech world. You know, you're using tools yourselves, I'm sure. What are some of the other things that excite you that you're enjoying and getting good use out of?
Yeah, any of the audit, like the sequencers that I mentioned are great. Like Instantly, Smartly, both email sequencers are awesome, honestly. Well, I'm gonna probably do a demo at some point of Leads Picker. It's like Clay, but also integrated with Phantom Buster and all these other automations. So you can enrich a ton of leads on LinkedIn, get their data, get everything, and then automate the sending of that. And it's an email sequencer as well. So really powerful tool. So yeah, a lot of the automation stuff like data enrichment is what we really look at right now alongside like for our outreach. For in-house, we're looking at tech all the time. How can we get a better, voice cloning or lip syncing and that type of thing? So we're always looking at that. And then anything we could develop, on our own. So our two founders are like cracked engineers. They're just software engineers and they're awesome. So
That's incredible. Yeah, it sounds like a great match, a great pairing. You guys together as co-founders. And it makes sense. You got an ear to the floor. You know, you're up to date with the changes and the tools that come out, and first to use them on yourself, and then you
I
iterate.
sound
And
like it at least, right? I don't know. I'm just kidding.
well, it seems to be the case. Yeah, no, I totally get it. And there's no shortage of things to play around with and use. So it's that in of itself is a full-time job.
Definitely, definitely.
That's awesome. So, as someone kind of starting off on my SaaS journey, right? Tooling around them. Again, I'm not a technical person. First, V1 was kind of built in this no code world just for the MVP. And I had since discovered that it was very buggy because I'm not a coder, even
Hmm.
in a no code environment, not for me. So now I've kind of worked my way back toward like, okay, how is this? I need I need validation on the front end. So very manual in its delivery, very much like again proof of concept, validation. So it's going to be more of the productized kind of offering on the front
Sure.
end. All that to say, what have you found, and maybe like what would be your top couple of tips? I know it's different use case, different industry, but I mentioned it before. It's kind of like that collaborative marketing suite, marketing agency type tool. Yeah, what are maybe a couple of things that you would say as advice or recommendations kind of at this point in the journey?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, get something out there quick, even if it doesn't have to be the SaaS tool itself. Get a form right out there and get it in front of as many people as possible, and get feedback. Start. Uh, uh, what's his name? I know it's cliche now, but meet with users, right? Like, what do they want, and iterate from what they want, without even mentioning what you're thinking of doing, right? Like, if you have an idea, but they're in the space and they could benefit from it, see if they're looking for the problem that you're trying to solve, right? If and did they do their own research? How much is their budget? How many usually are their decision makers? You gather all that data, and then that gives you such a more informed decision when you're actually building something.
That's great. I love that. Yeah, and that's kind of I consider myself like a sponge, right? Learning as much as I can in this space, and I think that's why I broke apart V1 because it wasn't there, and I built it before determining that was what was needed. So, if you've got this bloated tool, if no one's using what you've created,
Yeah.
instead taking kind of that lean startup
And,
approach and getting validation
And
first.
I would say too, I don't know if you're familiar with Noah Kagan,
Mhm.
Million Dollar Weekend, or his book, whatever, and he's
Yeah,
like
AppSumo
founder
guy.
AppSumo, right? I love his approach. Like I looked at his flow of how to be a founder, right? Whatever. It's like get a dollar, get someone to give you a dollar, right? Because that feeling, I'll never forget. My first thing that I ever did was a jewelry drop shipping website, and the first time I ever saw that payment go through and an alert on my phone, I was like, it works. I could do this. Like
Yeah.
I will, that was fuel for 10 years of whatever, right? Like I know it could happen. I could earn a dollar online digitally, and that will give you so much motivation. So I would say anything, to get someone to buy something too, yeah, that just steams your, motivation forward.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because I've got a couple of people that I'll bounce the idea off of because they're the the ICP, right? They're the person that it would be for in the first place. But
Mm,
there's a big difference in someone giving you their thoughts and
exactly.
someone giving you their money. Yeah,
Exactly. The maybes or the yes that actually is a maybe is it doesn't mean anything until they actually give you money that they work for. So
absolutely. I love that. That's incredible. Yeah, you've shared, a ton of valuable insight already. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have?
no, I think you heard our past, how we were formed, our future, where we're going. Yeah, I mean, just I really appreciate you having me on. I can't really think of too much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've enjoyed it. Where's the best place for people to find you, find your products, find what you're working on?
Sure. My LinkedIn is just Mark, Marc Lewin, Lewin, or getsalemaker.com is our website. You could visit and sign up.
Awesome. Well, it's been a blast. I enjoyed everything you've shared, and I've certainly got a page full of notes. I'm sure others will too.
Pause there. Sorry. Thanks, Evan.
Absolutely.